ada yang mau bicara silakan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat pagi Bapak-Bapak semua. Atas nama PT Gunung Sari Pratama mengucapkan puji syukur kepada Hadirat Tuhan Yang Maha Esa, berkat izinlah kita bisa berkumpul di sini. Selamat datang dan terima kasih atas hadiri webinar ini. Dengan tema Explore the latest trend for FTTH and G. Dalam kesempatan ini kami mengundang rekan-rekan dari UI dan pendidikan dengan tujuan adalah untuk men-sharing informasi. Mudah-mudahan dalam kegiatan ini bisa membantu segala aktivitas dari Bapak Ibu. Nah, dapat diketahui bahwa kegiatan ini merupakan
ya, Pak Meza.
Ada beberapa hal yang ingin kami sampaikan kepada Bapak Ibu.
Kiranya mungkin.
Ya, ada beberapa hal yang kami sampaikan. Mohon maaf, agak terganggu. Saat kegiatan ini, kami dari host akan mohon izin untuk memute mikrofon Bapak Ibu sekalian. Dan apabila ada hal-hal yang ingin ditanyakan, nanti bisa melalui fasilitas chat atau Bapak Ibu juga bisa klik raise hand. Dan dalam kegiatan ini kami akan menyediakan e-sertifikat untuk yang hadir. Untuk itu, kami mohon kepada para peserta yang hadir untuk bisa memberikan identitas dengan format nama perusahaan atau instansi dengan diikuti nama lengkap. Silakan kepada Bapak Ibu nanti yang akan bertanya bisa langsung menyampaikan pada kolom komentar di mana kita akan bahas pada sesi dari Q&A. Dan untuk pertanyaan terbaik kami akan memberikan voucher sebesar 100.000 yang akan dimumpukan pada akhir acara ini. Dan untuk rekan-rekan yang akan bertransaksi, kami memberikan cashback sebesar 1 juta rupiah untuk pembelian produk servis dari PT Gunung Sari Pratama untuk 5 pembeli pertama setelah sesi webinar ini berlangsung. Dan cashback ini berlaku sampai dengan tanggal 31 Desember tahun 2020. Demikian Bapak Ibu sekalian pembukaan dari kami. Dan untuk selanjutnya Ibu Teresia akan memaparkan tentang PT Gunung Sari Pratama. Silakan Bu Tere, waktu dan kesempatan kami berikan.
Iya. Terima kasih banyak Pak Mason atas kesempatan diberikan. Ya, selamat pagi Bapak Ibu sekalian. Salam sejahtera buat kita semua yang sudah hadir di acara webinar pagi ini. Terima kasih telah bergabung dalam acara webinar kami di hari yang berbahagia ini. Terlebih dahulu perkenalkan, nama saya Teresia dari Business Development PT Gunung Sari Pratama untuk memaparkan sekilas tentang perusahaan kami PT Gunung Sari Pratama atau yang dikenal oleh para pelanggan kami yang setia saat ini dikenal GSP. Ya, di layar Bapak Ibu sekalian sudah tampil nama perusahaan yang kami cintai, yaitu PT Gunung Sari Pratama, yang lebih dikenal dengan PT GSP. Perusahaan kami adalah perusahaan manajemen telekomunikasi, yang sejak berdirinya banyak hal telah berubah tentunya. Tetapi komitmen kami terhadap kepuasan pelanggan tidak berubah. PT GSP senantiasa berkomitmen untuk melakukan apa yang diperlukan untuk menyelesaikan pekerjaan yang dipercayakan kepada kami dengan sangat baik, benar, dan tepat waktu tentunya. Nah, Bapak Ibu, PT GSP juga memiliki visi dan misi, sebagaimana kita ketahui bahwa setiap perusahaan atau organisasi memiliki visi dan misi, maka apa yang kami lakukan selama ini selaras dengan visi perusahaan kami, di mana seperti kita ketahui bersama, bahwa organisasi yang memiliki visi dan misi mempunyai dalam jangka panjang yang mencangkup seluruh cita-cita dan tujuan yang ingin dicapai oleh sebuah perusahaan di masa mendatang. Nah, Bapak Ibu, tadi sebagaimana kita katakan bahwa perusahaan kami adalah telekomunikasi manajemen company, maka visi kami di sini saya dengan bangga menyampaikan di forum ini bahwa perusahaan kami PT GSP memiliki visi, impian, cita-cita yang jelas yang Tuhan percayakan untuk kami lakukan, yakni accelerating digital transformation in the global telecommunication industry. Nah, ini visi kami, di mana kita ketahui bersama bahwa transformasi digital saat ini bukan lagi satu pilihan, Bapak Ibu, tapi sudah merupakan suatu keharusan mutlak, terlebih khusus di masa pandemi COVID-19 saat ini. Nah, visi kami ini berlaku pada semua kemungkinan perubahan, seperti kita tidak pernah menyangka di awal tahun bahwa kita akan ada COVID ya, Bapak Ibu. Nah, visi kami ini pun mempunyai sifat yang fleksibel dan juga adaptable di semua perubahan yang akan terjadi di masa depan. Nah, sebagaimana kita ketahui, kalau ada visi, pasti ada misi. Nah, misi kami ini, misi yang ada di perusahaan kami ada 6 poin, yaitu kita ingin menjadi perusahaan pemimpin dalam manajemen telekomunikasi, kemudian juga kita ingin menjadi role model, contoh perusahaan di network solutions, kita juga menjadi penyedia all-in-one untuk passive equipment, juga kita menyediakan solusi yang komprehensif untuk SLA dan juga untuk performance assurance, kita juga menyediakan fasilitas ICT terbaru, terakhir, last but not least, kita juga memberikan fasilitas IoT yang aman atau secure IoT. Bapak Ibu, kita lanjut, selaras dengan visi misi kami tadi, kami melakukan aktivitas yang dilakukan oleh PT GSP selama ini untuk mencapai tujuan perusahaan kami tadi. Yaitu kita ada tujuh kegiatan kita sebagaimana ada di layar Bapak Ibu. Yang pertama itu kita juga melakukan kegiatan penjualan alat ukur untuk fiber optik dan radio frekuensi. Lalu kita ada juga kegiatan di solusi jaringan, network solution, beberapa customer kami hadir saat ini. Kemudian juga kita lakukan juga kegiatan di network monitoring system, jaringan distribusi optik, SLA and performance assurance, fasilitas IT, dan juga produk and solusi dari IoT. Inilah 7 kegiatan yang saat ini kami lakukan dan masih ada terbuka dengan perkembangan saat ini, akan menambah lagi kegiatan kami. Selanjutnya, next, kita PT GSP untuk memperkuat usaha kami, PT GSP melakukan strategi yang menyelaraskan sumber dayanya dengan tuntutan perubahan lingkungan perusahaan. Dengan strategi PT GSP akan berjuang untuk mendayagunakan berbagai pilihan yang ada untuk menghadapi ancaman-ancaman yang ada dan mendayagunakan berbagai keunggulan perusahaan untuk meminimalkan kelemahan-kelemahan dalam suatu kompetisi yang baik. Strategi yang telah dilakukan oleh PT GSP, dari PT GSP kita mulai dari internal kami terlebih dahulu sebelum kami melakukan eksternal strategi. Strategi dari dalam yang telah kami lakukan yakni menciptakan tim yang loyal, brilian, dan dapat diandalkan dari berbagai latar belakang disiplin ilmu dan berbagai keahlian yang menunjang dalam merencanakan masa depan perusahaan yang lebih baik. Nah, kemudian selanjutnya juga kita menciptakan sistem profesional untuk SOP perusahaan kami dengan mengkonfigurasi sistem digital yang didukung oleh sumber daya manusia dan teknologi berkualifikasi. Nah, kemudian setelah strategi internal kami ini inline, maka kami mulai memperkuat posisi perusahaan dengan bermitra dan berkolaborasi dengan dukungan tim profesional Principals PT GSP, di mana kami telah menjalin kerjasama strategis dengan berbagai perusahaan manufaktur alat ukur terkemuka di dunia yang memiliki produk, teknologi, dan kompetensi tinggi di bidang penelitian dan pengembangan, seperti EXFO yang hari ini akan sharing knowledge dengan kita semua yang akan dinantikan Bapak Ibu sekalian. Nah, setelah mantap dengan tim yang profesional, maka kami mulai menuju penetrate ke semua lapisan pasar seperti government, communication service provider, multiple system operator, web scale companies, data centers, ICT equipment vendors, enterprise customer, dan juga operator infrastruktur tol. Dan kita yakin dari latar belakang perusahaan yang tadi kami sebutkan juga hadir mewakili di forum kita yang berbahagia di pagi hari ini. Oke, Bapak Ibu, demikian ini strategis kita. Kemudian kita dengan tetap menghargai kepercayaan para pelanggan setia kami, maka kami tidak akan berpangku tangan dan merasa puas atas semua pencapaian kami selama ini. Namun kami akan terus mengembangkan strategi untuk beradaptasi dengan kebutuhan pelanggan kami, dan juga tentunya masyarakat di masa depan dengan mempertahankan tradisi kami, yakni melakukan yang terbaik di seluruh aktivitas kami. Bapak Ibu, di layar Bapak Ibu ada ini dari summary kami setelah bertahun-tahun kami menjalani perusahaan PT Gunung Sari Pratama. 4 years PT GSP telah berhasil bertahan di pasar atau market telekomunikasi dengan baik. Namun kami tidak mau hanya bertahan saja. Kami ingin bertumbuh dan berkembang lebih baik lagi, sebagaimana kita izinkan saya mengutip kalimat bijak yang mungkin Bapak Ibu sudah familiar, yakni it's not enough to just survive something, that's not the point of life, we have got to thrive. Jadi kita harus berkembang ya Bapak Ibu, jangan hanya bertahan saja. Ada 3 alasan kami yang kami catat sebagai langkah kami untuk bertumbuh dan berkembang di pasar, yakni karena pasar yang masih besar, yaitu untuk memenuhi kebutuhan pasar yang besar. Kita ketahui peluang bisnis di telekomunikasi ini sangat besar, khususnya setelah terjadi pandemi ini, sehingga tidak hanya di sektor pemerintahan saja, tapi kami juga bergerak ke sektor swasta yang berkembang pesat dan juga sektor edukasi. Kemudian juga dilatar belakangi oleh era digitalisasi, di mana hampir semua aktivitas berjalan secara digital. Kemudian juga komitmen dari manajemen kami dalam rangka pemenuhan dedikasi kami untuk Indonesia lebih maju, dan juga untuk mendukung pemerintah untuk percepatan pembangunan industri 4.0. Dan sebagai closing dari pemaparan sekilas tentang perusahaan kami, PT Gunung Sari Pratama, kami berkomitmen untuk menerapkan tata kelola perusahaan yang baik di semua bagian dari struktur organisasi PT GSP. Prinsip-prinsip transparansi, akuntabilitas, tanggung jawab, independen, integritas kami, dan juga pastinya untuk kepuasan pelanggan merupakan bagian yang tak terpisahkan dari falsafah manajemen guna meraih pertumbuhan yang berkelanjutan dengan menjunjung profesionalisme. Prinsip-prinsip inilah yang juga memungkinkan kami mengukuhkan status PT GSP sebagai perusahaan manajemen telekomunikasi yang accountable. Demikianlah pemaparan sekilas tentang pesan kami, Bapak Ibu. Besar harapan kami bahwa PT GSP menjadi solusi bagi setiap tantangan ataupun case perusahaan Bapak Ibu sekalian. Selanjutnya, Bapak Ibu, di layar tampil website kami yang mungkin nanti Bapak Ibu bisa browsing, bisa lihat-lihat, mampir ke website kami untuk lebih mengenal lagi tentang PT GSP. Ada di layar Bapak Ibu sekalian, www.ptgsp.com. Nah, akhirnya Bapak Ibu sekalian, selanjutnya tanpa berpanjang lebar lagi, izinkan saya perkenalkan narasumber webinar perdana kami, di mana webinar kami adalah dari EXFO, salah satu produsen alat ukur ternama di dunia. Presentasi EXFO akan dibawakan oleh Pak Ben Yu, di mana beliau adalah Regional Sales Manager untuk area Asia Pasifik. Kita sambut ya Bapak Ibu sekalian. Jadi untuk mengefisiensi waktu yang ada, segera kita persilahkan kepada narasumber kita Pak Ben untuk memulai presentasinya kepada kita semua. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our speaker from EXFO, Pak Ben. He will deliver an insight about EXFO before a presentation by Mr. Raymond. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Pak Ben. Hi, Pak Ben.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yes.
Hi,
Good morning.
everybody.
Yes,
I
Pak
hope
Ben,
you
the
can
floor
hear
is
me.
yours.
Yeah, I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes,
My name is
yes.
Ben. I'm a sales manager in EXFO. So once again, selamat datang dan selamat pagi, selamat siang.
Pagi.
All right. So EXFO, basically, we are a test and measurement company for the first optical sorry. We are the #1 in market leaders in the optical test solutions. Basically, EXFO develops smarter network test and monitoring and analytical solutions for the world leading telecommunications service provider. Right. So we've over more than 1,900 employees in more than 25 countries. EXFO is the world #1 in fiber optic testing solutions. And today we are very, very excited to have you on board for the seminars, explore the latest fiber optics trend for FTTH and 5G. So with the team, I have Raymond as our key speaker, plus our colleague in the marketing, Edwin. So I will hand over to Raymond for today's topic. Raymond, over to you, Raymond.
Thank you. Ben, can you check my audio is clear from you?
Clear.
Yep, loud and clear, Raymond.
Thank you. Selamat siang semua. Apa khabar? Khabar baik daripada Malaysia. Walaupun saya orang Malaysia, tapi bahasa saya begitu saja. Jadi hari ini saya ada banyak informasi yang nak share sekali dengan teman-teman di Indonesia. First of all, I think stay safe. I think this pandemic time is not easy for us. And what I have lined up with every one of you shortly is actually a 2 hours content that I wanted to condense it in 1.5 hours. So bear with me, some of the information I might go through a little bit fast, but I am definitely there, and I hope that we can do a bit more follow-up after this to give you a offline workshop if there's a need. Yeah. Can you see my slide? Just to confirm, Teresa, can you see my slide? I'm sharing my slide. Can you see?
Yes, I can see.
Thank you. So this is the content of today's session. I'm a bit ambitious. Normally, in my 1.5 hour kind of workshop, I only do one topic, which is 5G or Next Gen PON. But in today, I wanted to be a bit more ambitious to cover 2 things because I understand that the audience actually coming from everywhere. So first of all, welcome. And I want to break down my today's session into 3 major parts. First is about technology update. Secondly, is about challenges that you see when deploying this technology, new technology. Third one, is there a solution? Is there innovation out there? So put these 3 in mind, and I'm going to introduce a new concept called fiber verification, because today is about the fiber optic trend, and I wanted to share with you if there's a new innovation that EXFO has invented, and I can't wait to share with you. Yeah. So you can see that this year is not a good news, but back into where we are today, the seminar, I wanted to share with you that actually 2020, beside the bad news, there are good news. Good news is 5G, all right. And you know, earlier there was this introduction that I heard, even though in Bahasa, I cannot 100% comprehend, but basically I understand that from 5G, the big picture is really empowering new experiences. I heard about e-health, remote surgery. I think you heard about autonomous driving. And basically 5G is going to open up a brand new opportunity because it's going to be across industry. Jadi semua industry will be very applicable when it comes to 5G. So it's beyond what we know on just a machine. So now this is the 5G topic there. You can see that in the beginning, 5G really is none other than higher speed. What higher speed? Now you're 100 megabits, not enough. You put it 1 gigabit, not enough. You put it 10 gigabit. Why you want to do that? Because of application like smart home, augmented reality, virtual reality. This is driving the network crazy. Zoom meeting, now we are all locked down, everyone logged in remotely, a lot of video call and so on. So this is driving the network crazy, yeah? But is the network good, reliable? not necessary, something that we like to look into. So beside this basic need of having a high capacity, another one is really mission critical. We are talking about robotic, drone, we are talking about e-health, example just now, we are talking about industrial automation, where the factory has got everything run wirelessly without human being, higher productivity, and the boss can produce more things, higher quality, and so on. And on top of that, eventually the ultimate aim for 5G is really having a massive IoT, plentiful of connected device. So actually 5G is not about human anymore. In the past 4G, we use a human as a main user, but in the coming, you can hear that IoT is coming you know, a new, brand new concept of a machine is going to be a main user beside human being. All right, so what does it mean to us? It means that the potential will be unlimited, all right? It's going to open a brand new business space and opportunity for everyone, regardless where you're coming from, you have your opportunity there. Now, today I want to talk about a bit more technical. So my information, it will be driven towards network build up, especially fiber optic trend that is riding over the 5G, right? But before I go into that, do you know that these are the challenges that right up front, you already know that 5G is going to happen. First, network densification. Later, you see that how the 100 times fiber, the information I'll quote to you from one of the popular source. Why there's so much of fiber? Because of traffic growth. You can see that why traffic growth. Zoom is one of the applications that we drive so much of traffic there. And on top of that, another topic that I probably won't discuss, but you hear a lot in the 5G is network slicing, virtualization, and IoT and all that. This is part of it. So the complexity is going to be more interesting eventually. And of course, come to the maintenance is very important. If you don't have a good foundation, katakan kita bina satu rumah, tapi foundation dia tidak bagus, jadi rumah ni tak akan kukuh. Same, 5G will be like that, all right? Because 5G demand very high spec, higher than the current technology spec ever available in the world. For example, throughput. Just I mentioned about high capacity, right? Right now, you want to stream video. It's not about just a video. We are talking about 4K and 8K. You need a lot of bandwidth to your mobile, and this is why throughput will go up, right? And also, another spec is really about reliability and latency. This is so important. Without a latency, how do you do remote surgery? You might overcut or you are not able to perform surgery. The worst thing is that autonomous driving, masa kita memandu mobil, how do we know the obstacle come in front of you and then you can perform a stop immediately? Autonomous driving, right? Drive by the machine, by the car by itself. If your latency is low, bang, you're going to crash. One, done. Another spec connected to it is really more devices is coming in, IoT, my wearable, the sensor in the agricultural land, and all the monitor, sensor device, CCTV, surveillance, everything will be connected. Even your home eventually, your aircon, your fridge, everything will be connected. So these are all the devices. And this is going to drive the network crazy. So katakan 5G is sebuah rumah, alright. Untuk membina sebuah rumah yang setinggi-tinggi mungkin, kita kena ada foundation yang sememangnya kena kukuh dan kuat, ya. So this is the point that I wanted to make here. Before I go into very specific how to look at the improvement of the spec, let's take a look back on 4G and 5G. Paling banyak ramai orang tanya saya soalan apakah perbezaan 4G dan 5G? Adakah bila 5G wujud ini, when 5G wujud dia akan replace the entire 4G network? Sebenarnya, the real case is that no, they are going to coexist for some time. In fact, if you look at the comparison 4G and 5G, low speed to high speed, all right, and there's a new element introduced very commonly, running on synchronization. In the past, it's frequency-based, now it's time-based and phase-based, yeah? And also SDN, NFV. So latency-wise, in the past, it's about this 40 millisecond end-to-end. But now you see that, wow, you have to go down to very strict latency requirement. It's super low latency in a way. So in the phase one right now, maybe you already hear, check your news, read some magazine, e-magazine, you see, wow, 5G here, 5G Singapore, 5G Malaysia, 5G Australia, Telstra, 5G Indonesia, 5G Philippines, everyone is talking about 5G. Do you know that phase, they have different phases of deployment. Phase one, normally, we are talking about 5G new radio. All right, so later we're going to touch on it a little bit to show you millimeter wave, massive MIMO related to it. And at the back end, the transport, the enabler is really higher speed interface as well. So in the past, it's only 1 gigabit is more than enough, but not for 5G. Yeah? 5G is going to be sky high, crazy. And you can see also on the next phase, 2023. So in this phase, only latency would be improved. So now my question to you, ya, katakan kamu daripada service provider, you're from service provider. So what are you going to do? You have a 4G network now. Are you going to wait until the 5G only you started to optimize your network? Okay, or do you want to make sure that your 4G is good enough so that your 5G is ready for high spec requirement determined and required by 5G? Yeah? So you can see that this is another perspective that people talk about 4G and 5G. In technically, we call it NSA. You hear the word NSA. NSA is non-standalone. So normally on the 4G, this is a 4G core of the network. EPC can see what it stands for there. And this is the LTE network. Macro cell is used. Macro cell, the coverage normally is about, we are talking about 2 to 5 km normally. So big coverage, yeah. But you know that when 5G new radio is introduced, because they're using higher frequency up to millimeter wave, 24, 26 gigahertz, then the coverage becomes shorter, right? The trade-off, and then many small cells are being deployed. So this is where you can see that small cell is going to be everywhere later on when 5G is, because not only you need to cover more subscriber per kilometer square, it also need to do high-speed connection and low latency. So very, very demanding, yeah. So this is the present moment. Many of the announcements in the market today, even though I just realized last week from one of the conversation with the operator, they already deployed 5G SA, but they are doing 5G NSA right now. So it's like step one before going to the next step. The next step is really SA, take away the non. The difference is that in the past, the communication or data and control is done half using LTE network, half using 5G new radio. But in the new 5G real world, it's going to be everything 5G itself. So this is new radio. Now introduce the 5G core. So we call it 5GC here. So this is really the 5G new stuff that's coming up. And when you have a 5G, your phone not only need to be 5G, it need to be a LTE compatible as well, dual connectivity, so that in the kampong area, the connection is bad, then you can actually switch over and so on, right? So this is really how the market is going, you know, from this going to that. So meaning that right now, what I'm going to show you the best practices, besides showing you 5G, I have to make sure that my method is backward compatible, because 5G is building on 4G as a foundation. So they are interlocked and interlinked, yeah? So they are not standalone. So now 5G to the topic there. So you can see that what we have here basically is talking about the entire 5G divided into a major component. I'll say that fiber is where I wanted to tie, but in this case, later I'll give you some relation between millimeter wave. Things that I won't mention in this workshop today will be, I won't touch on SDN and Meth, even though they are important element in 5G. So I divide into four major challenges that when you deploy 5G, what you would expect, right, from there. So, and I want to do a countdown. First, we talk about massive fiber. Let's take a look what is solution for that. Then, do you know that because so many fiber are being involved, then there's this introduction of MPO or MTP, parallel fiber. So one of these connector here, you can have a 12 fiber, you can have a 16 fiber or 24 fiber and so on, yeah? So density is improving. Secondly is that there's an introduction of transport on the Fronthaul. I'll show you some diagram shortly. But I would like to do a countdown on showing you the challenges. Let's start with step number 4 there. What does it mean by dispersion there? So Challenger, let's do countdown, 4, 3, 2, 1. So longer link dispersion is one of the threat that would happen in the network. Like this is a mobile network, and normally here we call fronthaul, here is called backhaul. You are here, your mobile phone, you connect to the cell tower, and then your signal is going to carry all the way to BBU before it's going to come back to you. So this fronthaul is important, and I'll show you that in this case, because 5G new architecture is happening right now. You know what? One of the major things that people are looking at, in the past, they are kind of like ignoring it, but now no longer the case, because this is called the physical layer in terms of the dispersion. What is dispersion basically? Dispersion, you can see, is practically, let's say a laser signal travel from A to B for a 10-kilometer range. As it go semakin jauh jarak dia, the power will become less, and this effect of a pulse broadening, we call pulse broadening. In fact, you can see here pulse broadening is going to be happen as the distance grow bigger and bigger. What is the impact of such is that, let's say if this signal is interpreting by 101, this one is interpreting by inter-symbol interference, ISI. So one of the bit corrupt. So it means technically you're getting a bit error. When you get a bit error, you got delay and you have some problem to meet your deadline on time. And this is on the service provider. If you come from service provider or contractor background, this will impact to you. And if you come from service provider facing the customer, then SLA penalty, and customer might change another network, which is a better quality. Yeah. So this is the business impact dispersion. And do you know, there's a standard guided the operator to do when come to 5G. So in this document here, you can download from internet, do a Google search, G.650.3. It says that this is about test method for all the installed SM optical fiber. If the fiber is installed, you must test it. What do you test? There's a list of items. Some of them are really related to CD and PMD, especially if your data rate is high and your span is long enough. How long? It is not defined in the document, but EXFO has a best practices recommendation. Anything more than 10 kilometer, anything more than 10 gigabits, you should test it, all right? And I'll show to you that this number is easily achievable. Let's say the backhaul today is 25, and the length is more than 10 km. This is easily achievable, just one example, yeah? So with the increase of throughput, you know, right now we are talking about high throughput everywhere, front haul and back haul. So normally, what is a full fiber characterization is none other than following the standard to perform the bidirectional TDR as well as dispersion testing. Who is doing it actually in the market? Just to let you know, because of NDA, I cannot tell you the name, but you can Google who is the top 3 US operator in the world. In fact, all of them are tested. EXFO being a Canadian company, they approach us. We had high precision equipment and they have the need. So they actually come to buy from us, and then they actually use it in the field. From that experience, we realize that, oh, they actually are treating their 5G backhaul really seriously. So they do tests, and at that time, the testing is for their deployment of CPRI option 7. As I said, if you are 10 gigabit, you need to test. Even in UK, I live in Malaysia, but I travel in the Asia Pac. So I personally, you know, Japan, I give this feedback to the PLM that Docomo in Japan, they are testing it. Interestingly, Docomo is the service provider, but the fiber belongs to NTT. So they are same group, but different, one is fixed line, the other one is mobile section. So they are leasing fiber from there. So NTT buy from us, and they need to do the dispersion test, because this is what Docomo wants in order to ensure a seamless experience eventually, especially one high throughput, low latency, high spec on the 5G. So now this is the issue is happening, as we say, if you are assessing your current mobile network, even though LTE, if you're planning to upgrade 5G, reassess your data rate deployment, your distance is going to be one of the important elements for you to decide. And when you're making a decision, you can have talk to EXFO. We have a single-ended solution. We can have also help you to identify the poor PMD section if there's a problem, right? So this is a bit more technical. We can jump into a separate session if you want to. Challenger number 3, right? 4, 3, 2, 1. introduction of DWDM mux and NIMUX. Yeah, so you can see that here from this one reading here, heavy reading do a survey to 104 network service provider. They ask them, can you tell me what is your primary fronthaul connectivity method? You know, the first one actually is dark fiber, highest. The second one is this PON, and the third one is WDM. So I will talk to you in 5G. There's a new term called WDM is coming up. Yeah. So first I'll cover this. After this, I'll go into the PON. So don't worry, I'll cover everything. So you have a visibility of the top three, top four in the fronthaul connectivity for 5G. So you can see that here, basically, this is where the 5G new architecture is about, EC3. And what it does is that they actually put this transport here accordingly. So this is a transport for CWDM, DWDM that's happening. What it means here is that traditionally, you have 4 cell tower, 1, 2, 3, 4. You basically need to have 4 fiber connection. Every fiber connection carry 10 gig, but this is a point-to-point method. But you know what? If you have 20 times more small cell compared to macro cell, as I showed you earlier on, you're going to have 20 more times fiber needed. Is there so much of fiber there? Do you know installing one fiber, the time, the permit, and also the cost is very high? So solution is using DWDM. So first, you change the transmitter into color, and you introduce this DWDM concept. With that concept introduced, you can then condense and multiplexing the signal. So through that DWDM facility to transfer. So this traffic blue one is going to be this one to go to this one. The red one is going to this one, so on and so forth. Yeah. So efficiency is introduced because now in this one single fiber, you actually can carry more bandwidth and you are more cost saving. Okay, but the problem here is now your fiber suddenly becomes very stressed out, because in the past it's one fiber at a time, point to point. But now so many traffic you have to carry, is crazy. Yeah, that's why the dispersion is one of the areas that I was saying in the beginning. But now let's go to WDM. What are the challenges? Real life deployment. It can be area deployment. It can be a cabinet by the roadside. So this is coming, maybe not right now, but in the US, people are already doing it. So out of so many of the color is serving to business antenna nodes and so on. But you know what? I come from test and measurement, right? Does it mean that we can use the old tool for this job? This is the old tool here. This is the old one. You can see the old model there. If you run the old tool with this architecture, you're going to have this problem. You send a signal, it's going to be cut there because it's color optic transmission over the DWDM. Whatever that we send is going to be filtered as well. Only the authorized color are allowed. So this is the authorized color. So you need to upgrade your tool set, become a tunable OTDR. It can be for CWDM or DWDM model, depending on what you want. So this is really a different, yeah, when it comes to the deployment one. So 5G is bringing in passive DWDM massively into the fronthaul, and this is a big stress that we should be very much concerned. So what is EXFO innovation here? Yeah? So if you look at EXFO, conventionally, when it comes to the DWDM, normally you have a optical OCA, OSA, or even the OCC optical channel checker. You put here and you see the channel to see which one has good channel, enough power, not enough power. You can also have OTDR, to run a test here. All right, these are the point OTDR. But do you know EXFO innovation? We think this is good. Since the trend is going this direction, how about we combine them in together and we introduce a new concept called MAX 740 that combine the OCC and the tunable OTDR together, and perfect. So this is where you only put in one location, detect the power, and then go ahead and check where the problem. So this is first innovation that I'm sharing with you. Along the line, I'll pop up with many innovation, so as much as I can. Challenge number 2, okay, increase fiber density. So none other than a newer form factor, smaller, many fiber, parallel fiber, and we call it MPO. So normally you see this MPO like here, this is 12 fiber, this is 24 fiber because dia ada dua baris atas 12, baris bawah jumlahnya 24 fiber. deployment can be in data center, it can be in telco, telco as well. So if you're telco, you hear this word. Central office, normally kita tahu CO kan. Sekarang CO become RD, re-architect as data center. Kenapa data center? Virtualization is coming. You need to move your equipment closer to the customer. Later we talk about that trend as well. So this is happening really fast, yeah. So in US, many of the customer that is already running ahead of 5G, they are showing us a trend, and these are the picture taken there. So you can see that here, I'm not sure why there's a few lines here. So you can see that here, this is the typical tool set that you use, and you are monitoring 24 fiber, and eventually you can see that some of the fiber they are having some kind of problem. And later I'll demo to you what are these issues. Why there is this? Someone is writing on my board here. So this is another innovation that EXFO has. We actually come up with a device called the MFS source, multifiber source. What it does is inject test signal going to the far end. Then using the same tool, we can do additional thing. Normally we check only the MPO connector, but now we actually can identify the MPO cable polarity, continuity, beside doing the usual check. So this is what we are doing. Allow me just to... So this is another innovation that EXFO has when it comes to the new trend of MPO, so we don't waste your time. Whatever investment you already done on the F5P, just get another light source, you do all these tests, no need to buy new equipment. So you can see here, challenger number 1, all right? Now we are counting down the most important one here already. So I don't know how to remove this, but if you're okay. It become colorful. This is not from me, by the way. So we talk about the frequency spectrum, yeah, millimeter wave. So you can see that here, we had a full spectrum currently used on a lower band, right? For example, you hear about 900 megahertz, 2.4, all these are quite common. But now we are going beyond the board. We are jumping across a big spectrum, avoiding 6 to 24. 6 to 24 is military, close, somebody reserved it already, satellite, you can't use it. But you know what? When you are using this empty slot here, why not we use it earlier on LTE time? The reason is that when you're using this here, this area, the propagation is very difficult. Sometimes it's less than 100 meters. All right, just now I thought macro cell is about 2 kilometer, 5 kilometer, right? Right now, this one is really less than 100 meter. So then, especially kalau hujan, kalau ada tumbuhan yang menghalang signal ataupun building, all this can block as well. So this is a big limitation on that. But in order to overcome that limitation, the densification has to be introduced. Maksudnya kita sediakan lebih banyak small cell di rata-rata tempat. So itu cara solusi dia. And that's why small cell is mentioned there. In the small cell category, you have a microcell, picocell, and so on. But this is beyond our topic today. But you can go really targeted, you know, depending on how big the coverage. Just like your house, you ada Wi-Fi kan. Jadi ada berapa Wi-Fi access point. Tergantung pada rumah kamu berapa besar. Kalau sangat besar, you can ada access point yang tambahan lagi. Same for 5G. You have a small cell in that sense, yeah. So of course, in order to make small cell efficient, you need a massive MIMO and beamforming. It is outside of my discussion right now. So fiber in 5G deployment, okay. Tadi saya mention small macro cell kan. So ini memang LTE. Kalau nak tambahkan bilangan small cell supaya boleh support 5G, statistik yang kita dapat setakat ini adalah 20 kali ganda lebih banyak. So this is a lot, you know. So and you can see the small cell is green color and all that. And macam mana dengan fiber optic dari segi quantity dia juga. If you look at 3G and 4G, according to this Corning is basically abang besar sekali, big brother in the fiber optic world. Semua orang pakai fiber optic dia. Dia ada satu study yang cakap, kalau 5G datang, kita anggarkan dia akan lebih banyak sehingga 100 kali lebih ganda lebih banyak fiber deployed di small cell and for 5G network. So this gives us a good thought. EXFO sebagai company yang memang fokus sekali dalam inovasi, kita kena fikir Sekarang trend dia sudah berubah daripada dulu point to point fiber yang sepanjang-panjangnya 100-200 km. Sekarang fiber jadi pendek dan density dia sangat tinggi. Jadi apakah solusi yang kemungkinan EXFO boleh fikirkan untuk address into this market there? So this is one area that later I'll go into it in detail. But to give you a big picture realistically, adakah small cell akan is coming to you? All right, the answer is yes. I give you an example to the home. You maybe already hear that some operators say they are 5G ready. Actually, the 5G is using the first version. First version of 5G is called FWA, Fixed Wireless Access. First version. Sebenarnya it's the same thing. 5G transmitter is a fiber all the way to the antenna, and then serving the nearest receiver. So this is the first version of 5G, and frequency yang pakai biasanya 900 MHz, US dia pakai 700 MHz, low frequency, because this is good enough for the small cell because coverage-nya memang sangat dekat. Secondly, you can see that a stadium, shopping mall, even a bus stop berdekatan, all with small cell. Remember, we are not only talking about many subscribers, we are talking about subscriber with very demanding 5G phone, high throughput, watching 4K YouTube video on the go, and doing multitasking job and so on, attending Zoom meeting at the same time, so on. So this is happening, it's coming to you, yeah? Be patient, be patient. So now, test and measurement, right? So what do we recommend? What do we see? The trend is already happening. So what changes required in order to be efficient in that sense? So let's, the million-dollar question. Bolehkah saya tunggu sampai 5G baru saya implement best practices? All right, so this is the answer. As I say, analogy, you need to build a big house, or very solid, big bungalow house, or even multi-story building. You need a good foundation, and your foundation is 4G today. So you need to really start looking at your 4G fiber network, because once they are used for 5G, it is too late when you wanted to deliver high spec 5G performance, yeah, low latency, high throughput, and so on. So when it comes to fiber, we are expert, right? Why? Because if you look at our company name, EXFO, expertise in fiber optic, we know everything about testing fiber optic and maintenance aspect of it. So normally fiber optic could be due to dirty connector, macro band, fiber cut, bad splice, and so on. Fine. So this is the area that we will be doing, and we will be happy to share with you how we can help you when doing maintenance troubleshooting. But due to the time wise, I wanted to simplify the process by introducing to you 3 steps. All right, for 5G fiber verification kit, the 5G verification kit consists of 3 item. Item yang pertama memang adalah FIP. The kedua adalah this new product. Later I would officially announce and introduce. Some of you may have heard it. All right, it's called Optical Fiber Multimeter. The third one is EX1. So I'll give you some use cases associated with that, how you can use in 5G. Yeah. So first, all right, now no more countdown. Now it's count up. The first question is that, is this fiber kit backward compatible? Saya sekarang belum 5G lagi, masih jauh lagi, mungkin 2-3 tahun lagi. Boleh tak saya pakai fiber kit ini untuk LTE network saya? Memang jawapannya ya, okay, backward compatible. Soalan, another thing is that kalau you pakai ini, you are thinking very forward looking, and you are ensuring that your deployment will be first time right. So this is the 2 key question that usually people ask me, should I consider it right now? Yeah, the answer is yes, you should. I'll show you some example. Yeah, first is fiber inspection. So many of you heard about this and know about this. If you're first time to this, good news, because I have a demo to show you. In front of me, you can see that I actually have the a small gadget here that I wanted to show you how it works. Yeah. According to the statistic, it says that 80% of the network owner report having connector issue. So what is a connector? This is a connector, you can see. So I have 2 connector here. One is green, the other one is blue. But this is the area that I want to show you how it works. Normally in the fiber, right? Dia macam satu air pipe. Katakan kita air sebagai itu light, dan air pipe itu sebagai fiber optik. Kita nak pastikan air pipe itu tak ada lubang ataupun tak ada kerosakan yang teruk, supaya air akan mengalir daripada from one end to another end smoothly, ya. it's the same. Fiber optic, you want to make sure that no loss. What are the potential problem? It can be your connector problem, your splice problem. It can be your macro bending. If you're dirty connector, then the OIL can be bad. Then we will focus into this one because this is one of the #1 cause, right, according to the NTT research. Let's see, what does this mean? Normally when you test, you see that saya ada warna hijau sini, yang merah situ bermaksud dia sudah fail, gagal dalam testing. So it can be contaminated. If you are actually having a cleaning method there, you can see that this is basically possible to use any cleaning. So I have this cleaning tool here, this one cleaning tool, cleaning tool. I'll show you how I can actually get it to use shortly in the demo. So you want to make sure that daripada kotor menjadi bersih. All right, this is your objective, and I want to show you a demo right now. You can see that I have white. So just a moment. Here. Okay. So this is the one that I wanted to show you. Currently, this is the inspection that I'm doing here, just for illustration purposes. This one currently is clean and passed. I have a short fiber. I have a long fiber, two. Right now, what I want to show you is that, katakan, I want to show you how easy it is to get contaminated. Now I just do a touch, one touch, and I want to monitor it back here. I didn't move away from your eye. Okay, I do a test right now. So say, you can see that just a touch of the button. Wow, humidity, contamination, bad, right? No good. So then now, if you think this is no good, right? How about ini memang sudah dalam patch panel. Kemudian kamu ada satu connector yang bersih untuk connect kepada yang kotor. Okay, ini kotor, ini bersih. So we try. So now I connect this one, and I want to inspect it. All right. So again, I want to show you one thing. Ooh, so yang fiber yang bersih pun akan jadi contaminated disebabkan cross contamination. Semacam katakan kita finger memang sudah kotor, kita sentuh komputer kami, screen dia akan jadi semacam berminyak kan. So in fiber optic is so delicate. You know what? I want to show you one more thing, if you allow me. I want to show you how small this thing is actually, if I may. So I want to show you this thing. Okay. So where the light is coming out. So I have a light source here. I want to point to this fiber. Check it out. So the fiber actually here. Do you see the blinking? Teresa, can you confirm you see the blinking real time?
Yes, I can see the blink.
So this is how the fiber is only using the center of this for transmission. And if the whole thing is contaminated, bad news, you know. So your 5G, no more 5G, 5G minus 1 become 4G. So this is a demonstration to show you that fiber cleanliness is #1 thing in the research, which is quite true, because you can have this different scenario, yang terlupa pakai itu cap, yang sudah rosak, yang in the lapangan, dirty finger and all that, right? So this would causing a very bad impact on the fiber optic. Katakan fiber optic memang ada masalah, what do you expect? Are you going to get a live up to the 5G high spec requirement? No way, yeah? So connector is #1. Now let's talk about fiber verification, yeah? So first, a quick revision, 3 key criteria for 5G. Must be low latency, must be high reliability, must be high throughput. But the question here is that, how do I put it in perspective? As let's say latency, right? Let's say 2 milliseconds counts. What does it mean? In 5G, you have autonomous driving, and then you wanted to stop because of the obstacle suddenly happen in ahead of you. So this process, if you need to go back to the network and come back to you, if it is not happening in 2 milliseconds, bang, all right, you're gonna have accident. So 5G really is faster than anyone that you can imagine. It is so critical, and that was just an example of autonomous driving. You can deploy in remote surgery. You can deploy in many of the applications, like what we are doing real time. Like I cannot have a lag, you know. If I lag, our webinar content will be wasted, yeah, totally. So, but what are the challenges faced, right? So we actually spent 2 years to rethink our strategy before we come up with a new solution like this. We have to think that, okay, now in this market, fiber is a new trend. Like in the introduction, microwave is slowly going, you know, taking over by fiber. Everything is fiber here, fiber there. But these people, they come to the market as freshy, new, no experience. And there are so many of them. And when they get a job to do fiber optic maintenance, they have to do so many of them, right, at the same time. And the worst thing is that there's not enough time. Every time the deadline is yesterday, semalam. So there's not enough time. So it's a big problem, right? So to address all this, we actually surveyed to the customer, what was your most headache when it comes to fiber optic deployment? And actually they told us 18% is sangat lambat. 24% say quality tak bagus, walaupun kita sudah beli yang kualitasnya sangat tinggi dan sebagainya. Somebody is drawing it again on my board here. I think Wawan can help me, otherwise I'll have more line here and there. I cannot remove this by myself because I'm not familiar with Zoom, but maybe you know. And 27% say keep control on project cost, and 12% say recruiting additional fiber optic quality workforce. So nak cari orang pun susah, okay? Lagipun nak ensure the cost minimum, because every time lepas satu kerja fiber optic habis, kena balik lagi, kena kembali ke lapangan. Kenapa? Kualitas dia tak mencukupi. Alright, and in 5G it is even worse, right? So in total, 58% combining this challenge, they are pointing to one thing. If kalau alatan yang ada hari ini semacam VFL, light source, parameter mencukupi, sebegitu pun OTDR, dan kita tak ada komplain semacam ini. There must be a way that we need to remove the 58% and return back to the service provider, contractor, whatever broadband service provider you are, to make sure that you benefit from the 58%, not become a problem, but we need a solution. So I think EXFO, after 2-3 years of innovation, we come up with something, you know, very interesting. So we give you a direct access, fast pass, like imigrasi di Jakarta. Memang susah sekali. I wish I have a VIP, you know, straight into the immigration, but that's not the case, yeah. So, and this is where we think very deeply. We need innovation, not just a new OTDR, not new parameter, not new VFL, not because this is the existing tool that still contribute to the 58% of the manager headache, yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, with that, let me introduce to you a new concept, very brand new concept. It's called optical fiber multimeter. And what is this fiber multimeter about? I still tempted to remove this. If you allow me just to try to remove this. I'm not sure whether I can. I think that someone is raising hand. Just give me a second. Clear, can I clear? I don't think I can. Maybe Wawan, you can try to remove the line. Otherwise, throughout your recording will be all the line there. So with that, we introduce the OFM. So first is a handheld tool. The handheld tool really must be small in size. Because Jakarta traffic jam, right? You must be even in motorbike able to carry around, all right? This is number one criteria, small. And the battery should last you for a week, for example. Thank you, somebody's done it, great. So, and secondly is that because the existing tool has limitation, this tool, ideally, besides able to do the power meter, you should be able to do the ORL, loss, and also lag measurement. It's a must, because okay, someone is trying to. So, and you can see that this quickly measure the key optical parameter in the field. And more importantly with that, you resolve all the problem. It helps you to get a good link help. And we started to use the word verification a lot, all right? verification is not fiber characterization, and I want to make it really clear to you. Ideally is that you don't really test every fiber. There's so many fiber, so many short fibers. Begitu banyak sekali fiber optic yang pendek dan covering everywhere you want to do. Is about making it right first time, right? Making sure right first time, and you want to pinpoint the health in a way. The health as in like mesti connected, everything perfect, tak ada dirty connector, tak ada macro banding, tak ada back splice, tak ada wrong connector. Kalau ada apa-apa masalah yang ada dalam fiber optic link itu, mesti terus kita identify, terus kita resolve it before your technician have to come back again and again and again to find a fault. Sebab alatan power meter contohnya kita boleh, misalnya kita boleh tengok reading power. Tapi kalau power reading rendah, di mana masalah dia? No way kan? So this solution is called multimeter disebabkan dia ada multiple fungsi. Alright. So is there such a solution yet in the market that can help me to, besides being a power meter, to become a super power meter? Tell me a little bit more about length, ORL, and loss. So, and the important thing is only a push of the button. Tak payah setting yang banyak-banyak kan. Seperti OTDR boleh troubleshoot tapi sangat complicated nak pakai. So ladies and gentlemen, this is where we introduce a new first family of optical fiber multimeter. This is the OX1, model OX1. And because it's multimeter, right? So it means you can actually have a light source, power checker, flash advisor, fault explorer, and job management. Even the result can go to the cloud. You don't have to manually save, transfer, USB. All this is a thing in the past. Interestingly, this is the key idea about the OX1. Later, I'll give you some example how this is done. Yeah. So if I may summarize, what does OX1 so differently compared to the old legacy 2? All right. Basically, this is the current process. Katakan kita dapat satu job di lapangan, nak buat testing, kita install, lepas install, kita buat report, then go to the next site. Katakan ada kala kita ada masalah, kena fix dan repair. Alatan yang ada memang limited. Katakan power meter cannot tell you the location, then you have to bring OTDR. So dua team yang involved, jadi dua team kena datang, satu team dengan OTDR, satu team dengan basic 2. So sekarang dengan introduction of OX1, kita dah resolve that process because we introduce empower every field technician. Just like you and I, we maybe have a digital multimeter. If you are working in fiber optic area, you should have a fiber multimeter as well. With that OFM, you actually can diagnose yourself, go, no go, right, troubleshooting, and you can verify where the location is. Don't forget, it tells you the problem or the location in that measurement there. And you know what? We actually already have a very big success. Just yesterday, we got like over 100 of a unit of order from one of the customer in Asia. And also, the customer survey tell us that, oh, they save 80% of the time because it is so efficient. Just now, there's 58% headache. Now you are getting back 80%. So you get more, all right, if you get an OX1. So step 3, yeah. So now change gear a little bit. So fiber is done. How about service, yeah? Service as in like, remember, we talk about fixed wireless access. So later we touch on FTTH. But now let's come to the fixed wireless access. So on the fixed wireless access here, you can see that what it means is that this is the fixed wireless access device next to you. It means that high throughput. We are talking about easily 1 gigabits per second plus minus, very high throughput, because this is what fixed wireless access is. A new FTTH they call wireless FTTH. Yeah? You just put up a CPE, you call it CPE, and that's about it. Yeah. And let's take a look how it works there. So normally in the service activation, give you an illustration. This device is recommended because it helps you to, let's say in the house, this is a CPE of the wireless access, and you can actually deploy this small portable device. Actually, it's like this, small size, right? Small size, all right, smaller than my phone. You see, all right. So, and what it does is that it allows you to do a quick class speed test up to 1 gigabits per second that normally your phone and everything else cannot do. So by doing this 5G first deployment, FWA, it becomes very efficient in that sense. So I'm coming to a pause on this first chapter because I want to take the other time to move to FTTH. As I promised, I have 2 topics to cover. So, but the first topic here, you can see that I want to wrap up in such a way, whether you are doing small cell, fixed wireless access, you only need 1 device for your fiber optic pane. No need a difficult to use OTDR. This one will do everything you need. So we have like, you know, depending on where you are, if you only do fiber optic, then we have a recommendation of verification kit. If you are turn up, then you maybe need to add an EX1. If you are DWDM, then you need to have our innovation of Max 740C. Yeah, so it's a small commercial in between. So now my summary is, katakan 4G kita boleh langsung lupakan testing, memang tidak penting sekali. Tapi dalam era 5G kita kena reconsider. Itu memang satu, you know, one thing that already we discussed, you know, very high spec requirement is you cannot take it for granted, yeah. And kalau katakan dulu no test, plug and play, and you try in 5G, you're going to be crying all the while because of the high spec, low latency, high capacity that's coming. So how are you going to do it? And who is going to help you? Of course, you can contact EXFO because this is where we share some webinar content like you, not just product, but you know, what is it about on 5G? What kind of challenges you face and what is your solution, you know, that you can work around on that. So you can count on us. So now, second chapter, I pause for a while. Let me take a sip of water. Do you have any question before I move on to the next one? You can type in the chat panel if any question. I can take some question before I move to the FTTH.
Yeah, I think we need some help for the Bahasa translations in the chat box.
Yeah.
There are a couple of questions already, Raymond.
All right, all right.
One, would you mind trying to help us do the translations on those questions on the chat box?
I think Ben, let's do it towards the end. I think that will be
Okay.
more manageable. Yeah, thanks for that offer. That's good. I think I saw some of your question there. So be patient. I'll answer to you shortly towards the end. So the next one I want to talk about is FTTH, my favorite topic. I'm not sure any one of you attended the Fiber FTTH Council webinar. Last week I was the presenter and I share this content. Some of the content I'll reuse it here, but it's about the 10G PON. So it's very interesting there. So first, FTTH, we know about it, but do you know it's also known as PON because it is passive optical network, yeah? So now, back to this study there. Just now, this one, everyone knows. We already touched about this one. The next one on our checklist is let's take a look on PON. Why PON got Next Gen PON 2 and XGS PON? What is all this? Let's demystify them, yeah? So now after this, you know, you'll be able to read this report. You can be able to digest any 5G information easily. So 5G is leveraging on the FTTH, one of them, not all, yeah, not all. So if you look at Indonesia penetration rate in APAC, it is very low. I Googled the population in Indonesia about 270 million. So 10% probably is 27 million, I think. This is the population of the entire Malaysia. So we see well done. You still have a lot. You still have a lot of room to go. So to me, from here to here, this is your potential green field. Green field means ada lapangan untuk peluang untuk construct the new network. Yeah, you have a lot of opportunity there. But what it means to us also when it comes to the FTTH, would this space here be GPON or are you considering 10G PON? So this is the next one that we should be taking into to see that what are the better choice for you. So now, when it comes to comparison, right, make a table, everyone is clear. So first of all, I divide this into 2 lines. Normally, this one is done, I have seen a lot in Japan, many in China, but the rest of the world seems to be favoring GPON, okay? On the GPON, normally we are talking about speed. Usually people associate to downstream as a 2.5. Upstream is going to be increasing to 10. This NG PON 2 is going to be 40. So this tool here is really, they call it Next Gen PON, Next Gen PON. And there are many other flavor, as you mentioned. And during the webinar last week, somebody asked me about Super PON. Super PON is not in the list, but that will be the next level, you know. And this is only 10G. Yeah, there's also 100G PON coming. So a lot of new things are coming, but at least for now, let's get back into this, because many of the trial I've heard deployment already taking place, especially on XGS PON, many of them. So what's so special beside having a higher split ratio, higher downstream rate? The other one really I wanted to point out is about the frequency they use, the lambda. So normally here 1310 is here GPON 1310. The second one is 1490 downstream. All right, 1490 is very common. This two is very common in GPON. If you do maintenance, you know what I'm talking about there. The next one is really here, 1550. All right, so this is optional. So if you have a cable TV or RF TV overlay, then you use this one. You know what? When we are introducing this one, a newer frequency is introduced higher here and here. So maximum is reaching 1603 here. This spectrum and this one, 1577. So this is coming very big time there. So what it means to you is that your existing, because you come from test and measure, your existing tool set, alatan yang sedia ada, will not be sufficient to handle the 10G PON. So make sure when you are investing or planning to invest, your consideration is you must be future-proof, all right? So like later I'll show you the EXFO solution has to be 10G PON by design. Even the OX1 just now, the optical fiber multimeter is with 10G PON in mind, all right? When we design OX1, you know that we put our wavelength in service as a 1650. Because we have a two choice, 1625 and 1650, we have two choice. But akhirnya kita pilih OX1 maintenance mode to be 1650 supaya kita ada satu space yang lebih privacy, enough spacing, buffer margin, so that kita tidak overlap dengan operating wavelength. So this is really the idea behind our design, future-proof as well as backward compatible to the old technology in mind. So higher frequency means beside internal equipment, another thing is macro banding, because when you actually are higher frequency, if you know the OTDR theory, the higher the frequency, it tends to be more sensitive to fiber optic macro banding. What is macro banding, by the way? Fiber optic, this is fiber optic, all right, fiber optic. If you do this too much, this potentially is a banding, yeah. So when light goes through here, that's no good, right? So this is one area on where we are looking at, you know. So the point here is that as the network is going higher speed, they are using higher frequency. As they are using higher frequency, they are going to be more sensitive to macro banding. This is a hard fact, a big challenge when you come to deploying the high-speed network. So again, I always go back to in the past, nobody cared, but now people are taking more care than usual on that aspect. So the market is telling you that right now the next gen PON is growing phenomenal. So yang merah memang a zone next gen PON. So you like it or not, we are here. We are still many of the low speed, but more and more this space will be taken up by high speed, especially driven by 5G. All right, especially. So they are interrelated. That's why I put the two topics together. You can separate them, but you can also view them from the same angle when it comes to the infrastructure. So now on the FTTH PON, because PON is passive, right? How about the active part? Active part is only two things. One is in the central office called OLT. Another one is ONT at the customer side. So this is a modem. Some people call it ONU. Some people call it ONT, but you can see where the name coming from. Okay. Coexistent. All right. Can 10G PON coexist with legacy PON network? The answer is yes. You can see from example here, scenario, there's this one GPON, this is a wavelength that I was drawing, US for upstream, DS for downstream. You can overlay with a normal. So this is a legacy. The new scenario is an XGS PON or 10GE PON, depending on where you come from, and you can coexist with this one. So you can see newer wavelength are introduced, and this one can also coexist with scenario 1 in the network. As you can see, there is this multiplexer to merge everything together. So for the operator to upgrade today, whatever OLT chassis that they bought, this one, so they bought this chassis. So this one cut here can be GPON. Tomorrow they can plug another cut there, XGS PON, no problem. All right. So the newer hardware is already capable of doing so. Yeah. So coexistence is possible, but it means that when it comes to maintenance, you have more headache. Yeah. But it's okay. We are here to help you with the logistic of headache there. I know that some of you come from university background. Some of you come from non-telco background. I will purposely put this up to let you know that FTTH is now going into a new term called POL. What is passive optical LAN? As you know, LAN is usually used in enterprise, hotel, government, university, hospital, all this, right? So now with the introduction of people see a success in FTTH globally. People want to use this in this campus, in this university. So when you are deploying this, you are looking and considering that a new approach called POL. The POL simply means that, let's say this is your university campus building. You even have the FTTH. You also have fiber collector, fiber distribution, and riser. So this is where you put the splitter inside, and the ONT is at the house. So with the ONT, just like your house, you have a residential gateway, and then you have a Wi-Fi. You can connect to internet using Wi-Fi, or you can have a LAN cable if you connect to an extra switch supplied to a different people. So whatever it is, POL is also there since 2011, I think, and now it's getting more matured already. But in short, you can see that more in-building cabling. In the past, it's multi-mode. Because of this trend of POL, people are using single mode a lot. Secondly, is that splitter are seen outside of the telco, even in the private network. And this is one example of the private network POL. But when it comes to testing, it's the same, right? If EXFO can do really well in FTTH, of course we can do and help the university, the campus, when they are building their own infrastructure. Yeah, no problem. So now we talk about low speed and high speed. I want to give you a sense, a view when high speed, what is the impact? Yeah. Again, I use this the digital transfer of the information. If it is high speed in the same space of time, you carry more data, right? That's high speed, right? But when you have a contamination happening in your network, then you may potentially having some kind of a bit error, and you know that bit error is no good, right? So it will affect your signal, and the bit error is going to impact your signal performance altogether. So this is really the problem of it. So impairment is one, and do you know that we also have other element, good, bad splices. What is reflection? What is scratches? Can we clean it? Connector? Why there are green color and blue color? Why there are small, big, all sort of information, you know? Optical return loss, what is that? I only know fiber loss. What is optical return loss? I explained macroband just now. How does it work? Attenuation, fiber attenuation. So there are so many things in the fiber world that you can study, but today, due to we only have 1.5 hour condensed time, I would recommend to you, towards the end, we had a polling which has a questions of the top 10 topic that you can really go into a separate workshop, all right, with us separately. And all you need is to take the polling towards the end, and we'll come back to you. We can go into this in detail, each and every one of these, but it has to be done on a workshop basis, not on a public seminar or webinar like this, right? So a lot of information behind, but today I'll focus mainly on the impairment, just to start with. So now you know already XGS PON, this terminology, you know the characteristic already. Now let's look into, I want to build one. After that, I want to maintain it. How do I do it? Yeah. So let's start with the building phase first. So now, if you recall, I used the word verification in the beginning. Verification means quick test, go, no go. If a no go, where the fault is, simple. But fiber characterization is different. You want full details, good, no good, add the OTDR trace, submit it, and get the money payment. If you are a contractor, you know what I'm talking about here. So what is a fiber link characterization different than verification? For example, in a normal access infrastructure, just now we mentioned about OLT, right? So now you know what is OLT. We mentioned about ONT, you know what is it. But in between the network, there are two parts. Usually from here, point A to point B, normally we call it a home pass. Home pass, okay? And secondly, from point B to point C, we call it home connect. Home connect. So for example, when you are a service provider, you build your network. Have you ever had this problem? You are the subscriber. Kawasan yang berdekatan saya tak ada service lagi sebelum fiber belum sampai. Meaning home pass belum tiba berdekatan rumah kamu lagi. So if you want to subscribe a service related to fiber, FTTH, then you are calling the subscriber, please come bila-bila nak pasang, start pemasangan. That is home connect. Home connect means that first, home pass is built. We call it a construction phase. Secondly is that when a customer started to call to subscribe, you connect to this one, you connect to this one, you connect to this one. So this home connect is a phase 2. So I'll talk about this phase and this phase separately. Yeah. So let's start with the home pass. Home pass can be 2 splitter, 1 splitter. It can be remote OLT, many types, right? Many types. So these are just a different example in the field, but they all almost the same when it comes to characterization. So what is characterization? So if you're new to this word here, this is explanation, all right? If you go to workshop, we explain to you a little bit more detail. Literally laser light pulse goes out and then detecting a reflection. This is one big reflection. One big reflection is going to come back to my detector, convert it to the trace. So this is what you see there. So, but in order to read this trace, you require some kind of training. I'm not sure you agree with me. Kalau, if not, how do you know that? What is this 2 mean? What is this 3 mean? What's inside the 2? Is it good or bad? You need some kind of training, right? And you start need to do, oh, 2 is here, and then, oh, it's red color lost, or okay, then you need some kind of training, so-called exposure experience to do that. So if you are OTDR user, congratulations, this is easy peasy to you. But when it comes to fiber characterization in the market, there are 2 methods. One method is using OLTS. OLTS actually is light source and power meter. The other method is really OTDR. So let's do one by one comparison. So with OLTS is 1 pair, you need 2 people, right? So 1 people here and the fiber is A to B, and another people there. So one is light source, the other one is power meter. You need the headache is really referencing. If you don't do a good referencing, your accuracy is affected. So let's say if you have a poor power receive, you cannot tell the location, right? Because no fault location. So limitation on the O2. So with OTDR, fiber characterization solve everything. Not only is a single-ended, meaning this guy holding OTDR, it will run a test from here. This one no need. And you can validate every component. If you have connector here, connector here, connector here, connector here, all this can be measurable. If there is a fault, let's say a very bad connector here, you know that, oh, this is the distance and the fault location. And of course, in order to read the OTDR trace, you need to be expertise, right? Some kind of training, continuously refresher training. We are actually doing that quite a bit, and team GSP is with us. They are quite good certified trainer as well for that. So you can see that this is how the comparison, 2 method fiber characterization, but this is good, but it's not good enough, you know. It's not good enough. I'm not happy with that because going to the OTDR, I need to know what length to set, what time to use. The headache is really what pulse should I use? Like so many variables. If one variable give a different result, many variables give many results. Of course, you can do auto, but if you want to troubleshoot, you still have to go to manual, right? So then exactly, if this is a short pulse, this is a long pulse example. So short pulse usually give a best resolution but low dynamic range, meaning that just like ombak, right? If you have a small ombak, your leg can feel it a little bit. Yeah, you can touching it because it gives you all the details. Yeah, but if you're tsunami, whew, you're gone. So long pulse is like tsunami. It goes through. It don't care you as a human being. It just stop over everything, right? So this is the optics limitation. So EXFO need to come up with some innovation and idea, right? So what we do is we come up with this idea called IOLM. If you're first time, I know many of you are already user to that. Thank you. Thank you for the support. But for those who are new, IOLM simply means that now I combine the limitation of this. I actually run a multi-pulse testing. I do short, medium, long, aggregate the data so intelligently. I actually that I actually using instead of traditional trace, I use a link mapper to present the information. And you know what is so easy enough is pass and fail. Hijau the merah, straight away you can tell, right? What is right, what's wrong. And the beauty of all is that we can tell you like the OTDR would give. And if you click on this problem, it'll tell you a diagnostic window, advice, what to do next. Wonderful, right? So 20 over years of EXFO experience, now I call it IOTDR, right? Or OTDR version 2.0, whatever we like to call it. So it's more advanced than the OTDR, but our testers still do OTDR, don't get me wrong. You can just do two in the same unit if you want to. So this is solution innovation that EXFO are so proud of. No one is able to copy this technology as yet. If you want more information, we have a webinar that allows you to access that. And of course, in FTTH, I just want to complete the picture. Dirty connector is important element there. You have a tool like this, but what is important here is sometimes you're not aware. Some people say, can I just clean without inspecting? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible, because if you dirty, you clean it one time, it is possible, then you connect. How about if it is damaged? You cannot know, because size dia memang 10 kali ganda lebih kecil daripada rambut manusia. So daripada itu, kita memang tidak visible. If you want to use your bare eye to see if it is scratches, damage, burn or something. And this is exactly why you need the FIP. As I show you the light, is only happening in the zone A here only. So this is a very sensitive area for fiber optic to be performing really well, yeah. So normally inspection is everywhere. You can see the dot here, because so long you have a connector, this is where the potential contamination is happening. So summary on the construction phase, home pass from OLT to drop terminal. So this is a home pass. Normally kita buat pemasangan home pass, and kita buat measurement two method as I mentioned, OTDR or OLTS. Finally, documentation is very important. Yeah, you keep a record in future, anything you can come back to here. So this is a construction phase, and let's go into more interesting problem area, because home connect is where most of the problem is happening, because the home connect is going through anyone. I see melalui pokok, melalui aerial, lampu tiang, and all this is underground on the wall and everything. So it's a big problem. And we go back to the same concept of link verification, yeah. So now what we are talking about home connect is here. This is home connect. The yellow color is home connect. So from ONT to the drop terminal, only here, all right. So only here, not to the end of the network, because that one already construction done the test, right? Certified and characterized, right? Only this part, not yet. So you know what? Normally the checklist to do the link verification is very simple. First, kita pakai FIP, semacam ini, fiber inspection probe. So you actually can do the inspection. Second, you check the fiber loss. So in the past, the fiber loss is normal power level check only. But power level check got problem. Katakan power dia tak, not enough. Let's say you are in, the margin is 25 dB, you are 30 dB. So the 5 dB loss come from where? You want to solve the problem, right? So this power meter cannot help you, unfortunately. So if the problem persists, then you call the next team with an OTDR. But is this the way to go? We already show you, right? And continuity as well. Sometimes the wrong fiber patching, so you need to do all that. So sometimes it's active fiber as well for maintenance team. Then they need to, at the same time, able to check the power, but to find the 5 dB loss, the example I given just now. So this is a checklist to do. So normally in the legacy way, beside power meter, you can have also this PPM. What is PPM? PON power meter, meaning that it is intelligent. So you put it in two sides because there are two ports here, left and right. So left is listening to OLT 4090, and then this one is upstream. So I divided into left and right, and you see that there's this different dotted and the solid. The dotted imply that the normal power meter cannot do this category because it's bursty. Bursty means that signal come like this. So there's a lot of silence gap there. So in order to do this, we had a patented filter. So whenever there is a spike, we capture that and we present the data as a continuous wave, but it's not continuous. It's really a bursty traffic from this upstream. So this is only used if you wanted to tap in between. You want to troubleshoot whether the network side problem or the user side problem. So this easy decision for you to change a new ONT before you go to your van or car to change it. So this is a old method, yeah. And with the old method, you can also use a power meter. You can also use the combination of light source, power meter, and OTDR to find a fault. So, and don't forget that most of the problem are due to the fiber connector. So these are the traditional tools. And of course, in FTTH, what we actually design the new OFM is really for this last mile. Beside the 5G that you see there, short fiber and dense fiber, this is exactly the case. I'll show you something that I haven't shown you before. Is about the specification. I tell you the intention to do it, but how does it work? Yeah. So normally people expect to see everything from a fiber, everything good or end-to-end loss, total loss, dB, total ORL. But what this unit is designed, not only it is a short test, 10 seconds plus. This one is can go down to just 5 seconds. So how do we save the 5 seconds there? By not reading the good one. We only read the bad one. This is called Fault Explorer. The uniqueness on OX1 is focusing on what matters to you. Kalau di lapangan, memang kita tak nak buat silap-silap, tak nak ada apa-apa masalah berkaitan dengan dirty connectors or even a broken connector or bad connector or bad splice kan. So last but not least, if your link is good, you only want to see the end of the link. This one is best, 3 seconds. Tak ada no diagnostic, only focus on the end of the fiber. Done. All right, quick check. Katakan data center kan, 144 fiber. What are you going to do? You're going to test a long time OTDR, every OTDR 60 seconds. But di sini 3 detik aja satu fiber. Sangat-sangat laju sekali. And on top of that, we have a 5-star rating at the bottom there. So this is really the specification, yeah. But as I'm not selling any product here, I just tell you the methodology. I'll try to keep it, make it light. So we emphasize on relevant data. We straightforward operation is the keywords for us. And I have a video to show you. So hopefully that your speaker is good here. So let me test. So take a look how OX1 work in real life before we continue here.
Raymond, is that supposed to have audio?
There is audio, but you didn't hear it?
No.
Okay. Let me voice over. Sorry for that. So let me voice over. So when you see that there was a 3 down, and you need to really find out what the fault is. You can actually use this OX1 to go to the field, because this is MSO network, so RF one side, fiber the other side. So in the field, you can see that first, this one with the power checker function, we can detect that there's no power here. After that, we switch the test mode because fiber multimeter kan. So kita boleh switch test mode dia ke fault explorer untuk detect fault dia. So subsequently, you can see the fault is found on this location, 501 meter away. So in the one device without OTDR, we found the fault. And then the technician go there, buat penyambungan balik, repair, fix the problem. And after that, he come back to the pole and retest again after penyambungan. So now it deployed power checker. Sebab penyambungan sudah selesai, jadi signal memang akan dapat kita detect negative 3.35 dBm. Jadi alatan yang sama, OX1 sekarang kita boleh buat checking lagi. Sekarang dia jadi balik 5.8 km. Tadi 500 meter, now this one is 5.8 km. Jadi using 1650 because it's live, right? You cannot interrupt with the network services. So this is how the OX1 can work, demonstrating to you all-in-one functionality. And this is exactly what I wanted to show you. So of course, due to the time, I'll go to the last part of my session here. Before I wrap up, I want to cover the last thing on the 10G PON, what is interesting. So again, I show you a checklist so you can be visible to that. So first, the traditional way people use the ONT because bila pasang satu ONT baru, kita dapat informasi semacam OLT configuration, receive power, semua kita boleh dapat kalau login terminal ONT, tak jadi masalah. Dan if the ONT port is correct, then you also check the GPON ID and PPP over E, login, username, password, authenticate. So all these are done using the ONT. But do you know there's a new trend that's happening? You know, the new trend is happening whereby normally there's this to save the cost, right? So now the ONT has a newer version called GPON SSP. So imagine you put a GPON SSP in your switch or even your router, the residential gateway. The residential gateway become a ONT and residential gateway all in one. So significant cost saving, yeah. So I think the next step maybe is a software agent. But beside the point, this is exactly what you can see that is happening right there. So how EXFO is riding this wave, yeah? Since we know that this is a GPON SFP, how about I put it here? I already have a device that can allow me to do UCLA speed test, as you see on the 5G there. I can do Ethernet interface, Wi-Fi interface, all that in the UCLA speed test. Now I add the GFP GPON function there. Perfect. With that, meaning that somehow I am a rechargeable battery, I practically can bring my EX1 here, all right? So I can bring my EX1 here and here, okay? I can bring my EX1 here because who knows the owner is not at home, you need to test because you have so many jobs in a day. So you actually can come to this demarcation and test the OLT and validate everything. So in the past, this one is AC, you need AC. But with EX1, this is a battery operated, yeah. So you bring the ONT outside, so powerful, yeah. And of course, yes, all the function to help you to do all the validation. Example, GPON down, GPON up, receive power, latency, download speed, so on and so forth. So this is exactly what this does. So the size of it is like this, just to show you. This is a size, okay, very small compared to a phone. I think I showed you before. So it's smaller than my phone actually. And because it has a Wi-Fi capability, so you practically can switch to test the Wi-Fi in the house. Let's say customer complain, they complain that they complain. Where's my? So they complain that at the house there, at the house there, this is the area where they are not able to get a good reception here. So you bring this EX1 and then you're able to go there and confirm that signal is weak. Red color is weak, as you can see, compared to green is good. Then with that, you give a certificate to the customer and they have a reason to buy an access point from you. So monetizing your service. How do you justify? Just bring a handheld, very cheap device to go out there to help you. Some people ask, can I actually use my laptop, phone? Yes, you can. But this one is full line rate running FPGA, so it's a high performance. Normally you need a MacBook to do that, but now with that handheld, you can do everything, small size and more. So summary of the summary, come to the FTTH, normally these are the steps that we have mentioned on the service level, on the fiber level. So in short, this is what we actually are seeing, a great bundle called the FTTH Turn Up Kit. Just one slide addressing all the best practices there. And of course, you can see that with one case, you allows you to do all the physical layer, service layer compliant. You don't even need to worry about ONT because the GPON stick will help you to do that beside all the Wi-Fi testing, UCLA testing that you have and everything. So I think this is my last one, I think. So coming to the very end, reluctantly, the time is about another 5 minutes to 1:30. So you can see that here, this is the summary of what we have. And for your friends who you think this session is good and miss a session, contact to GSP because I think they record the session. And if you need to test drive, you know, you want a proof of concept, you want to have a demo unit, feel free because GSP team is there, highly contactable. And if you think, all right, not enough, I think Raymond is telling me something very interesting. I want more, okay? So we had a closed door workshop. Towards the end, there's a questionnaire. We give you a 10 topic to choose from. You can subscribe to that. We will get back to you shortly to give you more information on top of this, yeah? Last but not least, if you have your handphone, take it out, take a picture of this slide because he is the point of contact that immediately you can contact to right after this. Of course, Ma'am Teresa is there and so on. So yeah, I give you 5 seconds to take a picture, then I'll move on there. And I think the next one is really on the Q&A. I wanted to go into it. My conclusion, if I allow only one message to say, you want to have a healthy network, it will work faster. Whether it's 5G, 10G, Next Gen PON, and the future is not tomorrow. It's basically today, okay? So pay attention to what your infrastructure is and count on us. EXFO team is really great in the innovation. You can see many innovation I share with you. If you don't believe, you can call this guy. He can give you all the assurance. Yeah. All right. I think my session is done. I would go into the Q&A with the help of some translation from Teresa and Pak Wawan as well.
Okay, thank you, Pak Raymond.
Yeah.
Terima kasih, Bapak Ibu, rekan-rekan sekalian. Dari paparan informasi tadi bahwa ya kami menyadari informasinya sangat general ya karena bahasanya cukup luas tapi dengan keterbatasan waktu. Namun jika diinginkan ada request untuk lebih detail mungkin kita bisa sign dan bisa kontak saya atau kontak dengan tim GSP lainnya. Oke, selanjutnya kita akan masuk sesi pertanyaan. Kami memberikan kesempatan mungkin tiga penanya mungkin bisa raise hand ya. Untuk yang di chat nanti kita akan bahas juga, nanti kita kirim email. Jadi diharapkan masing-masing mengisi informasi di chatnya terkait nama lengkap, institusi, company, dan emailnya, alamat emailnya, sehingga kita nanti bisa mengirimkan e-certificate atau link recordnya, juga pertanyaan-pertanyaan yang sudah dijawab. Baik, sekarang ada satu. Saya silahkan dengan Pak Rizky Chandra. Oh, speakernya masih belum aktif ya. Oke, ada yang lain mungkin bisa raise hand.
I think
atau you want to
in the
chat.
Do you want to read translate for me some of them in short? So
okay, I will just they have some similar question.
All right. Okay.
This about you mentioned about FG, 5G, and FTTH. Okay, in terms of 5G, can we use like FTTX to support this 5G?
I think I answered that question, right? In the survey, one of the Fronthaul transport choices is about the FTTH, and 10G PON, especially the preferred choice, because 5G is going to be very high speed. I mentioned about XGS PON and NG PON 2 as some of the selection. And you can see that also I share that part of the 5G Fronthaul, another option is running DWDM or CWDM transport as well. So yes, there are many choices out there, and these two, they definitely can be linked together, but not the only choice. Yeah, there are many other choices out there. Even, by the way, microwave will be still there for a long time.
Okay, next question. We also have some similar question. It's about what is a 5G implementation and effect to the healthy? Is there any effect?
Very good question.
Yes.
Can you see my slide sharing there? Oh, this is a very good one.
Yeah, because consider for the high frequency. Yes, massive.
Yeah, I have the answer, but I prefer to show you a slide. If I may stop, I'm sharing my slide, right? Can you confirm that you see my slide sharing?
Yeah.
So yes, yes and no. In fact, okay. My direct answer is that if you don't want the radiation, you can just not subscribe 5G, but subscribe to FTTH. So, but I want to explain to you. Can you see my slide sharing still, Wawan? Please.
Yes, 5G and health, yes.
Yeah, right. So I think this is a big question there. I can only follow a study. Personally, I think that it will affect, but there's still some guideline that you can follow too. For example, when it comes to the radiation, there are two zones: non-ionizing zone and ionizing zone. So, for example, UV, you go out must put on the UV lotion, kan? If not, then the UV is going to penetrate you and no good, causing cancer to the skin and so on and so forth. X-ray, you tak boleh buat X-ray too heavily and all that. But now, let's look at the non-ionizing zone, because this is where there's heat induced for sure. But when it comes to optical, it is borderline. So talking about the heat, we are talking about millimeter wave here, yeah, by the way, microwaves here, millimeter waves is here. We actually have seen IEEE, this source is from IEEE. 5G test at 60 gigahertz, the highest already. Normally 24 to 26, 28 is the using, but as you stretch the limit to the limit, you can see that the yang kulit manusia, there will be a rise of 0.3 to 0.8, and is quite high. But luckily, IEEE guideline is 1.0. There are a few other elements to look at it as well. So what they do is heat is really one of the elements that you can look at it. In real life, do you know that airport scanner is using millimeter wave? You are already exposed to millimeter wave. All right. Of course, you don't do it every day, but this is happening. So this is my answer to you. I'm not an expert in this area, but if I may find one reference to say that it is still safe to deploy 5G, yes. But personally, all the country has got a regulator. Like my country is MCMC, Singapore. Every country has got their own regulator to regulate it. So if you want to put up an antenna small cell, you need to comply to the local regulation of a certain direction, certain power that we measure. So this measurement has to be done and passed before you can simply put up, right? So 5G is challenging. Personally, if you really sensitive about that, you choose fiber to the home. Fiber come to your house, no radiation. Of course, Wi-Fi radiation, right? But Wi-Fi probably is a very low frequency already outside of our discussion zone here. Yeah, so this is my answer. One, hopefully that is good to the audience.
Okay, maybe this is the last question.
All right.
No, yeah, we have more question actually, but at this moment,
yeah, sure.
For the last question is this also have some similar question. Is it ready for 5G? If you compare for today 4G, we still have many issues. Yeah, I think for the deployment and for the quality. So yeah, how we can make it ready for 5G and what's the strategy? Yeah, because for 4G, this still have issue. And now we're talking about 5G, which with higher specification, higher ambitious, yeah, something like that.
Yes, agree that totally. This is a very, very good question to have today. If you look at the 5G, the message that we were delivering from the very beginning, you know, so this message is so clear that when you wanted to do a high performance on the 5G, there are many elements that beside the 5G itself is considered. And bear in mind that what we were talking earlier on, let me just wrap up this one, that there's no direct answer, that there will be a collaboration initiative from all parties, I would say, in order to make it to happen. Depending on who you are asking this question, if you are operator or you are user or you are you are the content provider, it depends. All right, all these play a role. But when it comes to infrastructure, I agree that the LTE today still hasn't lived up to the expectation, especially the 5G spec required is so highly demanding. In my today's session, actually, I'm calling for whatever you do, it doesn't matter. Whatever pass is a pass. From this point onwards, practice a first time right approach. Do some kind of validation to ensure that your infrastructure is ready before you move forward. That is minimum you and I can do in our capacity. We cannot ask the operator to put up more antenna or invest more money, and currently pandemic is also hurting everyone as well. But definitely you as a user can complain, because every of the complaints, sometimes your job call, your quality, you don't complain, you take it for granted because you think that everyone is the same. Then they don't have the data analytic to make decision that, oh, my network is poor, I need to improve it. So maybe as a user perspective, you can do some kind of complaint, lodge a report to say that in my area, no reception, always drop call, throughput down, etc., etc. So then they can based on the information from the user to take action. Even they need to improve the capacity of the network, it has to be there as well. So definitely I'll say that many people, depending on who you are, the answers are different. But generally, from our perspective, you want to get it first time right from now on. At least from this point onwards, your network is well maintained as well as well established. So then, as I said, if you don't have a good infra today, how do you take the next phase, right? And the good news is that the tool set that we had here can help you to validate, like OS1. You don't worry, just take an OS1, go out there, find a fault and fix it. Because conventionally, either you buy a hard to use OTDR or the power meter which is dumb, can't tell you much. Then we create a new category of tester to do all that. So I think my answer is still not enough. I want to continue on with more, but I think due to the time, I'll just stop here for a while. I think that there's going to be more collaboration, kena kerjasama untuk mencapai satu network tahap yang lebih cemerlang dan lebih bagus.
Raymond, do you have some more time to take some more questions?
I can actually.
Yeah, there's one question asking about what's the correct way to do the cleaning for fibers. Angus from Icomfa is asking that question.
Okay, all right. Can you repeat that? What is the
best way or the correct way to clean the fiber connectors?
Right. Clean the fiber connector. Okay, all right. Yes, I think that is easily answerable. In fact, I can do a demo right away. Maybe let me just call another material that I have. I have a lot of material. Just give me one sec here. Just give me one sec here.
Another question is asking about OX1. What is the modules available and options that's available for OX1?
Can you help me to answer that when I'm searching that material?
Okay. So answering that question, I actually am putting the answers to the chat group. For OX1, it comes with two flavors. One is the basic, one is the pro version. And the items that you need to select is the number of wavelength that you want to put onto the OX1. So for example, you are doing the maintenance, we have the hour band 1650 available, so single wavelength, or dual wavelength for the installation, we have 1310 and 1550. Or if we have both installations and maintenance, we have a 3 wavelength version which covers the 1310, 1550, and 1650. So I hope I answered the questions.
Thank you, Ben. I think that served the purpose. Actually, we didn't share much product specification and information because I want to make it as a sharing of knowledge, technology trend, and the challenges. So I didn't really provide that information, but for your information, those information are easily available online. You can actually get it from our website or GSP as well. So that's not a problem. I'm almost there because I'm loading too many windows, so a bit slow here.
Okay, maybe we can go to
maybe let me verbally answer it. I wish to get some slide, but I think it's too rushed. I think to answer your question, there are two ways of cleaning the fiber optic. One way of cleaning is called dry cleaning. What is dry cleaning? You use a clicker like this. I'm not sure you can see me still. So use a clicker like this or this dry cleaning, meaning that some of the contamination are easily addressable. You just do a click or you just swap here accordingly. Another way is really using a wet method. I have an alcohol pen here. That can be alcohol that you need to use together with a specific material for cleaning the fiber optic. Sometimes I can use it together. So I apply the alcohol. I apply the alcohol into this patch on the top here, and then this is considered a wet clean accordingly. When do you choose a wet clean and dry clean? Of course, the first round you clean is using dry. If you really cannot, then alcohol is a better way, all right? You can think like, for example, when you are cleaning your hand, dengan pakai hand soap or without hand soap. So it's the same. If you want more thorough cleaning, then the water-based, alcohol-based is more thorough and more clean. I hope I answer your question. Usually I have some slide to supplement that, but I think I can't find them right now. All right. Hey, Wawan, back to you.
Yeah. Okay. Terima kasih. Mungkin sebelumnya kami mohon maaf tidak bisa menjawab semua pertanyaan secara live. Nanti kita akan jawab. Nanti akan kita kirim email. Kemudian kita dari paparan yang telah disampaikan, kita ingin mengambil survei. Kami minta kesediaan Bapak Ibu sekalian, rekan-rekan untuk bisa berpartisipasi. Kita akan launch pollingnya kurang lebih sekitar 5 menit. Okay. Pak Raymond, you can see the polling?
I can.
Okay, silahkan Bapak Ibu sekalian bisa diisi surveinya. Ya. Kemudian jika Bapak Ibu sekalian ingin diskusi yang lebih detail atau dengan topik yang lebih spesifik, silakan, kami sangat open. Jadi kita akan atau mungkin ada discussion, mungkin bisa kontak kami atau tim kami. Ya, kami juga ada program terkait dengan virtual class. Barangkali Bapak Ibu rekan-rekan sekalian memiliki interest terhadap suatu topik tertentu. Nanti kita akan coba untuk akomodasi dan memberikan link untuk bisa registrasi, untuk bisa mendapatkan informasi lebih detail ya, terkait dengan topik-topik yang lagi tren saat ini.
Bapak Ibu sekalian, sambil mengisi polling, mungkin boleh siap-siap kameranya dibuka ya. Setelah polling ini nanti kita ada foto bersama, kita ambil foto bersama virtual, foto kita untuk kenang-kenangan ya Bapak Ibu. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu sekalian. Oke, jadi untuk tim multimedia, Pak Fadri, untuk siap-siap juga ya Pak ya. Oke, ada 7 pertanyaan di polling Bapak Ibu. Sekitar 2 menit lagi diberikan kesempatan untuk 1 menit lagi untuk mengisi polling yang ada. Kami juga mengucapkan terima kasih untuk Bapak Ibu yang sudah bersedia mengisi polling webinar survei hari ini. Kami sangat mengapresiasi semua pertanyaan yang masuk, namun sangat disayangkan waktu yang terbatas, namun kami akan tetap coba menjawab dengan email dijawab oleh tim technical dan tim kami yang sangat handal tentunya. Oke, 30 detik lagi polling akan berakhir, Bapak Ibu. Kita siap-siap juga ya. Kameranya jangan lupa Bapak Ibu berikan senyum terbaik nanti pada saat tim multimedia kami mengambil foto.
Ya, kemudian mengingatkan kembali kepada rekan-rekan untuk untuk di chat box-nya untuk memberikan nama lengkap institusi, company, dan alamat email sehingga kita bisa mengirimkan e-certificate dan rekap jawaban dari Q&A yang masih belum terjawab. Ya, nanti kita akan kirimkan. Oke, terima kasih. Saya akan close untuk pollingnya.
Terima kasih kawan.
Baik, saya kembalikan ke Bu Teres.
Ya, terima kasih Pak Wawan. Mr. Raymond, thank you. Thank you for your presentation today. We believe that all participants are very excited with the presentation by Mr. Raymond. And yeah, now we give a virtual appreciate by thumb jempol atau claps hands. Bapak Ibu bisa berikan untuk tim kita dari tim EXFO, dari Pak Raymond dan juga Pak Ben dan juga Pak Wawan dalam question and answer session. Oke, Bapak Ibu, kita lanjut ya ke sesi berikutnya, itu sesi foto bersama sebagai kenang-kenangan kita, berikan senyum terbaik. yang akan nanti dipandu oleh Pak Fajri. Pak Fajri, halo? Pak Fajri udah siap ya? Oke Pak, boleh pandu kita untuk foto bersama Bapak Ibu sekalian?
Boleh.
Thank you.
Screen-nya boleh dihilangin dulu, Pak Wawan.
Pak Wawan bisa dibantu? Ya, sambil menunggu tim multimedia mengambil foto kita hari ini, di hari yang berbahagia ini, kita bikin kenang-kenangan ya. Bapak Ibu sekalian, terima kasih.
Pak Wawan, screen-nya bisa di-stop dulu itu.
Oke. Mohon tunggu sebentar, ada kendala teknis. Mohon maaf Bapak Ibu. Dan mohon waktunya sebentar ya.
Sudah di stop? Belum? Masih muncul apa itu?
Masih muncul Pak. Masih muncul kawan. Oke, siap-siap. Be ready.
Oke, sebentar.
Senyum ya. Smile. Thank you. Keep smile. Good day. Oke, peserta kita banyak juga nih Pak Fajri, jadi mungkin mohon kesabaran untuk menahan senyumnya karena ada mungkin sekitar 15 slide. Oke. Berikan senyum terbaik ya Bapak Ibu sekalian. Oke.
Saya hitung 1, 2, 3, tolong tahan sebentar.
Iya. Oke, Pak Fajri.
Oke, teman-teman, Bapak Ibu sekalian, 1, 2, 3, tahan senyum terbaiknya.
Masih banyak ya Pak Fajri. Mohon kesabarannya.
Sebentar lagi.
Ya. Oke, teman-teman, Bapak Ibu, keep smiling. Thank you.
Oke, sudah.
Thank you. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu sekalian sudah mau mengambil virtual foto bersama kita. Oke, selanjutnya tanpa berlama-lama lagi kita akan masuk ke sesi berikutnya karena hari juga sudah semakin siang, kita juga akan semakin masuk dalam aktivitas kita masing-masing. Sebelumnya kami akan memberikan thanks note from Managing Director kami dari Managing Director PT Gunung Sari Pratama, Ibu Niken Agusari. Oleh karena itu, kami mohon Ibu Niken, kami persilahkan untuk memberikan teks note kepada para peserta kita semua, Bu. Silahkan Ibu Niken.
Wow, terima kasih. Luar biasa pemaparannya di pagi hari ini, saya pun mendapatkan pencerahan. So, pertama-tama saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada tim GSP yang sudah mempersiapkan platformnya acara ini dengan sangat baik sekali. I also want to thank my partner EXFO. Thank you for the presentation. It was very insightful, especially for Mr. Raymond. Good job. Thank you so much. Dan saya juga menghaturkan terima kasih dari hati saya yang paling dalam kepada semua Bapak Ibu yang sudah meluangkan waktunya dari pagi sampai dengan siang ini. Keterbatasan kita dalam pandemi ini tidak membatasi keinginan kita untuk tetap belajar. Dan seperti sudah dipaparkan berkali-kali, semua pertanyaan tadi banyak ya yang nggak sempat dijawab. Semua pertanyaan mau konsultasi terkait fiber optic and then radio frequency as well, apapun itu, bahkan request special webinar dengan tema-tema yang Bapak Ibu inginkan, bisa langsung akses website sesuai di virtual background saya, gampang sekali diingat, ptgsp.com, ptgsp.com. Jadi sekali lagi, atas nama perusahaan GSP dan nama personal, saya mengucapkan terima kasih banyak kepada existing customer GSP, kepada potential customer GSP, welcome home. Welcome to GSP. Thank you sekali lagi. Thank you so much. Saya kembalikan ke Bu Tere.
Ya, terima kasih Ibu Niken. Ya, Bapak Ibu sekalian, selanjutnya sampailah kita pada sesi yang ditunggu, yakni pengumuman pemenang atas pertanyaan terbaik seperti yang telah disampaikan di awal dan telah diputuskan oleh panitia. Pengumuman ini akan disampaikan oleh Ibu Wira. Bu Wira, halo Bu. Bu Wira. Ya, silakan Bu, siapa pemenang kita siang hari ini, Bu?
Halo Bu Tere, thank you, terima kasih atas kesempatannya. Namun sebelumnya saya mengumumkan 2 pemenang atas pertanyaan terbaik. Saya mewakili PT Gunung Sari Pratama, Mohon maaf karena banyaknya pertanyaan dan singkatnya waktu membuat ada beberapa pertanyaan yang belum sempat kita bahas. Tapi Bapak dan Ibu jangan khawatir karena sesuai dari informasi yang sebelumnya, Ibu bisa request webinar, training, dan mengajukan pertanyaan tentang seputar apapun manajemen telekomunikasi kepada kami free tanpa dipungut biaya sepersen pun. Oke, baiklah. Sekarang tiba waktunya saya mengumumkan pemenang atas pertanyaan terbaik. Dan pemenang atas pertanyaan terbaik adalah Bapak Sigit HS dan Pak Tri Ardi. Selamat kepada Pak Sigit HS dan Pak Tri Ardi yang berhak mendapatkan voucher OVO masing-masing sebesar Rp100.000. Untuk informasi hadiahnya, Bapak dapat menghubungi kami di info@gsp-id.com atau ke tim sales manager kami untuk informasi hadiahnya. Terima kasih dan selamat sekali lagi untuk Pak Sigit HS dan Pak Tri Ardi. Saya kembalikan ke Bu Tere.
Terima kasih Bu Wira. Ya, selamat ya kepada pemenang Pak Sigit dan Pak Tri. Mohon kesediaannya untuk memberikan nomor kontak Bapak kepada panitia ataupun email yang disebutkan oleh Bu Wira. Oke, Bapak Ibu, akhirnya kita sampai juga di penghujung acara kita siang hari ini. Saya, Teresia, mewakili tim GSP, sekali lagi mengucapkan terima kasih kepada Bapak Ibu dari akademisi, dari perusahaan. Kami mengucapkan terima kasih, banyak sekali yang bergabung pada siang hari ini, di mana kami juga sangat mengapresiasi waktu yang Bapak Ibu berikan untuk mengikuti webinar kali ini. Kiranya webinar ini memberikan insight pencerahan juga kepada Bapak Ibu. Terima kasih banyak. Apabila ada kesalah kata atau kekurangan dari kami mohon maaf yang sebesar-besarnya. Kami mengucapkan banyak terima kasih juga kepada narasumber kami, EXFO. Terima kasih banyak tim EXFO. Kami juga berterima kasih kepada semua Bapak Ibu sekalian. Terima kasih banyak. Salam sehat, stay safe, tetap semangat, dan juga have a very good day. Bye-bye. Thank you all.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Terima
Thank
kasih
you.
semua.
Thank you.
Terima kasih atas
Bye.
partisipasinya.
Thank you.
Terima kasih.
Thank you.
Terima kasih untuk partisipan
Terima kasih semuanya.
internal GSP. Kita stay untuk sampai akhir ya.
Oke, oke Bu. Sip. Musiknya ada ya Pak Fajri?
Ya, sampai ketemu pada kesempatan lain kesempatan ya, lain topik.
Iya, betul. Oke, teman-teman. Terima kasih banyak Bapak Ibu sekalian. Selamat beraktivitas kembali semuanya. Sehat-sehat.
Ya, sepertinya Tuan Pak Wawan tadi banyak